We're halfway through our quest to finding our true selves using the dance of the coyotes and the circle of foxes medicine wheels. Now it's time for our fifth step. Some people live their life as they choose, with no regard for the consequences. They don't care what happens. Let the chips fall where they may. They will do as they damn well please. Others are more cautious. They're concerned with the ramifications of their actions. They know that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. When dealing with people and life, these may not always be easily anticipated. They're aware of karma. They realize that what they do today might make their life more difficult tomorrow. How do you live your life? Have you been able to foresee the consequences of your words and actions? No one is perfect, and life is not predictable, so it's highly unlikely that you would have been successful all the time. Do you live your life with no regard for the consequences? Or are you painfully aware of karma? The worst part about karma is forgiving ourselves. This can be one of the hardest things that we'll ever do. Forgiving ourselves doesn't mean we forget what happened, just that we're sorry that things turned out the way they did. We still might not have all the answers, but if we did the best we could at the time, and we have remorse, self-forgiveness is in order. Most people have memories that make us cringe. In some cases, these are only known to us. Other times, friends and family members may know exactly why we feel guilty. Decisions made, promises broken, both to ourselves and to others, and dreams we've let fall by the wayside can all cause us to feel guilt, blame, and shame. As we grow and the years go by, more people are impacted by our actions, and the more there is to forgive. It's hard enough to forgive times we've let ourselves down, but when others are impacted, it's even worse. When it's our parents, our significant other, our children, our grandchildren, it's almost impossible. It's also difficult when right now, today, we still might not have all the answers. We may not know exactly how to respond in certain situations, but we know what we did wasn't the best, or at least it didn't turn out the way we had hoped. None of us were raised with perfect parents or in perfect environments. We're human. We're not perfect. Many of us have illnesses and conditions that prevent us from acting in the ways we might have liked. All of this impacts how we live our life. Poverty, environment, upbringing, societal expectations, and all of our physical limitations place extra burdens on us that we often ignore when judging ourselves. We're our own worst enemy. Life is like a school. We're here to learn. And even though we may not have the right answers just yet, knowing what didn't work is also a valuable lesson. We often don't give ourselves enough credit for that. Learning by the process of elimination is a viable method. It's even considered a scientific method. Sometimes we find the best way down our path by this process of elimination. If we've found one or two things that won't work, we're further down our path than we were before, and that is progress. As we live, we learn. The older we get, the more knowledge we should have. Of course, this is not always the case. Which circle do you identify with the most? How do you go about life? Damn the torpedoes and full speed ahead? Or do you hold a cautious eye toward karma? There can be a time and a place for each, but what is your default setting? There are certain professions that require more risk-taking than others. Knowing that you shy away from risks is integral if you wish to choose a successful path. There are times, such as in emergency situations, when taking the time to carefully weigh your options could be deadly. Planning ahead and being prepared are always wise. We're living in a time right now when some of us may be asked to make decisions that can have ramifications for the next 7 generations. The most important work we will ever do is to know ourselves. It's impossible to be successful unless we're armed with this knowledge. If we know we aren't cut out for a certain task, step out of the way so someone who is can take the helm. Find what you're best at doing and stick with it. Use your talents to make the world a better place. Don't underestimate the value of educating the next generation. Lead by example, if nothing else. In our next step to finding ourselves, using the circle of foxes and the dance of the coyotes' medicine wheels, we'll be making a decision about what to do moving forward. Join me, won't you?